guys, and welcome in a new DaVinci Resolve tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how to use the reflection mapping or environment mapping in DaVinci Resolve. So let's get started. Before we start, I make DaVinci Resolve videos or different kinds of video editing tutorials, so if you like this kind of tutorials, please consider subscribing to my channel. So let's get back to DaVinci Resolve. As you can see, I have a file here. I've already downloaded a reflection map or environment map. You can find a lot of them on the internet if you go open your browser. If you search for free reflection map, you will get these results. Any free image will do the job. Mine is this one here. I saved it and I can use it. The higher the resolution is, the better for our result. So let's get back to DaVinci Resolve. First of all, I will create a new fusion composition. So right click in the media pool, new fusion composition, and I will make this, I will leave it to be 5 seconds. I will go this time with 24 frame rate. Let's create this new fusion composition and drag it to the timeline. Then immediately we go to the fusion tab. In the Fusion tab, right click, just do some arrangements, options, orthogonal pipes, and I will also arrange the tools to grid. First of all, I will set up the 3D scene. I will add a shape 3D from here, or control space, shape 3D. We want this to be a sphere. I will click the node and hit number 1 to see it on the left side, control and mouse wheel to move near the shape 3D or far from the shape 3D. As you can see, this sphere is not very good. To make it more smooth, we will increase the base divisions and the height subdivisions to 100. And now the shape is smoother. To see the shape affected by the lights, we will go here, the drop down, we can select shadows or lights only. We'll go with the shadows. And now always when we set up a 3D scene, we need to add a merge 3D node, so control space, merge 3D node, and also I will go ahead and add a render 3D node, control space, render 3D node. We can go ahead and add a camera 3D node as well, control space, camera 3D node. And now if I hit the merge node and hit number 1, we will see the whole 3D scene in the left view. Alt and click the middle mouse button to rotate in the 3D scene. And now I will select the camera node and move it backwards. Now let's connect the render to the media out, and now in the right view we can see the final render. Let me move the camera a bit far away from the object so that we can see it in its entirety. Next, we want to add the first reflection map to this sphere. So to do that, I go to the media pool, we change the view type, and bring the reflection map in the nodes section. Now to be able to use a reflection in a 3D scene, we always need a sphere map. So click the media in one node, control space, and search for sphere map. And now if I view the map on the left screen, this is what we have. If you want to play around with the settings, go to the rotation and you can move the mapping. Now to be able to add the reflection map to a 3D object, we need to add a reflect node, control space and search for reflect. And before that we also need to add a blinn node, which is a 3D materials node. So control space, search for blinn. Just delete this connection, we need the blinn to be before the reflective map. The blinn node allows us to define the color of the material. We can make the material transparent. Let me just show you that real quick. Actually, let me connect the sphere map to the reflect map. We need to right click on this output, and then we need to connect this to the reflection color material. And now, as you can see on the left screen, we can see the reflection on this material. Now if I go to the blinn node, I want to change the color of the material, we can do so. I will make this black. Now we can play with the reflection just to put it in the position we like. In the reflect node, here's where we define how reflective the material will be. So we can play with the glancing strength. It defines how much the reflection will be seen, or how much the reflection map will be reflected from this material. Then we can play with the face on strength, which makes it very reflective. If we move all the slides to the maximum, then this material will be completely reflective. Well, we can go with this. Then we can define the fall off also. Maybe this is good. There are also other settings, but these are enough for our example. Let's get back to the blinn node. You can also define the specularity. You can change the color of the specularity. Then you can change the intensity. As you can see, this shining point here changes. The exponent defines the radius of that shining point or circle. Well, for this example I will move this to 0, the intensity, and the exponent to 1.0. Here you will define whether this material will be affected by lighting and shadows. More specifically, will it receive lighting or shadows or not? We will leave it checked for now. And now finally, to apply these materials to this shape 3D node, we can go ahead and connect this to the shape 3D. And now we have the shape 3D with reflection mapping applied to it. Now if we go to the camera, if we move to the transform tab, I want to use a target to move this camera, because I want always to the camera to look at this object here. Go to the merge 3D node, hit 1. Now if I move the camera, you can see that the reflection changes. Depending on the angle we view this object. Now the next thing I would like to show you guys is on how to apply the reflection mapping into a 3D text. So to add a 3D text, we hit this node over here, or control space text 3D node. Let me see this on the left screen. We need to type something. I will type resolve 16. I will change the font to Bebas New. Find it to be a very good font. Let's move closer. We also need to remove the wireframing and select the shadows, but to see the 3D object we need to go to the extrusion part here and add some extrusion to it. Probably this is fine. We can add a little bit of bevel depth. If you hold the control key and move the slider, the movements will be much smaller, so you can make the beveling or anything else more precise. Let me make this closer. And let's play with the bevel width. As you can see, we are adding some bevel to this text. And since we have the front and back checked, it will add bevel to both of the sides. Let me add some bevel depth. Okay, I think this is good for our example. Let me go to the text again, move up, and I will add some tracking. And now I would like to bend this text so that it fits more to this sphere over here. So to do that, select the text 3D node, go to the transform tab. First of all, in the X rotation, I'll add minus 90 degrees. Then I will add the bender 3D node. Check the group objects. In the axis, select X. Now we can go ahead and bend it. Let me just show this, the results. So bend it on the left side, and now to rotate it back, we can go ahead after the blend 3D, add the transform 3D node. Let me see the transformation over here. So we will need to add 90 in the X rotation. And now if I merge this to the merge 3D, we can see both objects. And with the transform node, we will need to move the text a little bit. We need to move the text in front of the sphere. Okay, now we can see it. So now it's exactly in front of the sphere. Now to be able to add materials to this text, first of all, we can change the color of the material. If we go in the text 3D node, we go to the shading tab. This is the material, and we can make this. We can give it a color like this, for example. And now to be able to add the reflection to this material as well to the text, we can use this sphere map, the same sphere map. We can copy these two nodes here, copy and Ctrl V to paste them. Now we can reuse this sphere map here, right click here and connect it to the reflection color material of the reflect node. But if we try now to add this material directly to this node, it won't let you because it's not possible to do that. If we want to add some materials to a text 3D node, we must use the replace material node. So let me move this up and make sure always to put the replace material node after the text 3D node. Never put it before because it won't work. Select the text 3D node, Ctrl space, replace material 3D node. And now if we connect this to this material, we can see that the text is also reflective. With the same reflection applied, but we want to change the color. So to do that, we select the blinn node and we change the color to be something like this. And if you want to be this more specular, we can do so that the text shines more than our sphere. We can also change the face on strength. And there you have it. Next thing I would like to show you guys is if you want to add two materials to some 3D objects, we will add an additional material to the 3D text here. To be able to combine two materials, we will need to add the merge material 3D node. But first of all, let me show you how to add some pre-made or some free materials or shaders in DaVinci Resolve. If we go to the effects library, then we go to the templates, go to shaders, and if I select any of these materials, if I go with the honeycomb and select it here, now if I try to replace, to put this to this node, I cannot do that. First of all, we need to move this to the left, and we need to add a merged material 3D node. Control space, material merge node, put it in here. Now we can view it there on the left view if we hit number 1. And now if I connect this honeycomb here and swap the inputs, we can only see one material at one time. To be able to see both of them, we need to select the material merge 3D and lower the blend. And as you can see on the left screen, now we have both materials applied. We have the honeycomb and the reflection added to it. Now if we select the honeycomb, we can do some changes. We can change the color of it. We can change the alpha if we want that part of material to be transparent. We can change the specularity. So now we have added two materials to the same 3D object. Let me select the merge 3D node and just disable wireframing. Now you can see that the text 3D has both materials applied, the honeycomb material, the pre-made or the free shader given to us by DaVinci Resolve, and also we have the reflection applied to it. Now, if you want to add some lights to this scene, we can do that in the merge 3D node. But first let me set up the renderer. We need the camera to be camera 3D, this camera over here. We change it to OpenGL rendering. And now if we enable lighting and shadows, everything will be black because we don't have any lights over here. And in the texturing, I will change this to source so that we get better quality textures. Now let me add some lights. Select the merge 3D one node, control space, search for point light. Now select that light and move it so that it lights up our scene. In the lights you can change the color of the light, which will also change the material, but we will leave it white for now. We can change the intensity of the light. We can add more lights. Control space, point light. Now we have another light over here. Let me move this light to the right so that we have this kind of lighting. We can add one more. Go to the point light 3, we move this to the back. We can also add a spotlight. Control space, spotlight. Now we have a spotlight. We would go to the transform tab and also use a target so that it always points to our 3D objects. And now we can move this light. As you can see, as I move it farther away, the lighting of the text changes. Now we can play with the color also of this spotlight if we want. We can change it to be somewhat red. Then we can change the intensity, you can change the cone angle, the penumbra angle. If I make this close enough so that we can see the spotlight, if I change the cone angle, you will see that the cone is changing its size. If we change the penumbra angle, you will see that this circle changes here. To be able to see those more in the effect, let me change this to white and move the intensity to 1. And now if I change the cone angle, you will see that the light radius that this light has effect gets smaller. If I change the penumbra angle, you can see that the angles of the light become much sharper. The penumbra angle just make those angles more smoother so that they are not visible. And let me change the intensity to be lower. And this would be good for this example, and we are pretty much there. One last thing I can do is to add another sphere here, or we can copy the sphere and paste it outside. Can connect it to the merge 3D node. Now we need to go to the radius and we will make this big enough so that until we see this object here, the sphere will cover all our scene, so everything will be inside this sphere. And what we can do here is just to connect this sphere map to this 3D scene, and we can play around with the scene over here. And as you can see, now it looks like we are inside of this object, as you can see it in the background. And one final thing we could do is animate the camera. Let me do that very quickly. So if we select the camera and right click, we want to animate this group, animate this group also, rotation group. We can also animate the target. Let me move the camera. Just make sure you don't go outside of the outside sphere, because the camera won't catch our object. Or one thing we can do is just go to this sphere 3D and we can change the angle. So that we don't see it behind. We can rotate it so that the environment map will only be seen in the opposite side of the camera and not back of it. And now if we move the camera, select the camera here, and if we go something like this, then we go here to frame 30 and we move the camera. As you can see, a keyframe was added automatically because we animated those groups. Now, one other thing I would like to do is go to the spline editor, just make those camera movements much smoother. Select all of these points and just hit S to smooth them. Let us just see the results. We go back and let this line turn blue so that the render is finished. I will show you the results after this is done. And here is our final result. I hope you guys learned many new things, especially for the 3D aspects in DaVinci Resolve. I can say that DaVinci Resolve's 3D engine is pretty powerful and you could get very nice results and effects. So guys, if you like more DaVinci Resolve tutorials, you can find those in the card above. I have a full playlist of different DaVinci Resolve topics. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section below. And hopefully this was useful. With you guys, see you next time. Thank you for watching this video. Take care and bye.